That's a pretty cool action figure, but it has nothing on my Carmelo Anthony Denver Nuggets Christmas ornament. I mean, look how realistic it is. It even comes with the headband, the cornrows, and no championship ring. And I think every Carmelo Anthony Christmas ornament from here on out will come with no championship ring, if you know what I'm talking about. What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're an indie artist looking for an album review and some promo, you can hit up Luke at redmattersite.com. And what I have for you boys and girls today is my review for Travis Scott's highly anticipated debut album, Rodeo. Now, I wasn't as excited about this one as a lot of people out there were, but I did like Days Before Rodeo, and I know that Travis brings a very unique and experimental style. So I was looking forward to this one, but I think it was getting kinda overhyped. That's just my opinion. But all that put aside, let's just jump right in to this review. Now, it all starts off with the song Pornography, and this has T.I. talking some shit on the intro, and he acts like a little bit of a narrator throughout this album. On this one, Travis is spitting that he wants to do some menages, and he also says that he's trying to get some rub-a-dub so he can bust a nut. You know, just the typical content that you would expect on a song called Pornography. I thought this was a pretty cool song, and it has a dark soundscape to it, but there was nothing on this one that really blew me away, and I thought T.I. talking throughout this song kinda killed the vibe a little bit, but that's just my opinion, and it is an intro, so I get why that was going on. Now after that, we have the song Oh My Diss Side, and this is actually two songs in one. Oh My has Travis and Quavo just auto-tuning over some banging production, and Diss Side has more of a wavy feel to it and really reminded me of some Drake music if you ask me. So I didn't really like Oh My too much. I found it was just kind of typical and basic, nothing too out of the ordinary. And I guess you could say the same thing about Diss Side, but it's just so smooth and mellow, and I like that type of sound, so I enjoyed that second song better. Now, as expected, there are some odes to substance abuse on this album. The song Antidote is very bassy and has bars about blowing money, popping pills, and fucking three bitches like Robert Horry's Three-Peat. And on the song Wasted, Juicy J jumps on there for a drug and alcohol-infused track. Both of these songs are really nothing out of the ordinary, and I found them to be kinda dull. And you could say the same thing about the song Night Call with Chief Keef and Sway Lee, but I actually really like that one a lot just because it has a very upbeat tempo to it. It has the typical bars about alcohol, money, and hoes, but it's the type of track that you could really crank up if you were just pre-gaming, having some drinks before the club, or if you were just driving around looking to get into some trouble. I mean, I'm a washed up husband and father, so these types of songs don't really mean that much to me, but I might turn this shit up in a car just if I want to pretend to be cool, you know what I mean? That Night Call one? It's got some good bang to it. But my least favorite track on here by far is Piss on Your Grave with Kanye West. It starts off with a rock and roll intro, and then Kanye just starts shouting about pissing on people and using faces as urinals. This track actually has one of Travis's best flows, at least in my opinion, but hearing Kanye just yell and scream about pissing on everything, not only in the intro, but also in his verse, just didn't do it for me. But if you like the idea of hip-hop mixed in with some grungy rock, this will probably be right up your alley, and I can appreciate it for the experimental shit that's happening with this song. I thought it was a pretty bold move, it just didn't really work for me. And since I mentioned my least favorite feature, I want to talk about some of the features on here that I did like The Weeknd absolutely killing it on Pray for Love. I thought this song altogether had a very Weeknd dark R&B vibe to it, and Travis's verse was good because he was spitting some socially conscious shit, or at least showing a little bit of awareness, because he's rapping about how he's sick of how the media portrays black people, and how he's sick of all the white supremacists that are in power, and just the white supremacist attitude that prevails in the United States, and really throughout most of the world, I would say. And as for The Weeknd's verse, the beat actually drops out when he kicks in, and I like his verse because he talks about how he feels he's underrated, and I thought it was cool when he said that he hopes his daughter doesn't meet a nigga like him, because he's just wild and crazy, and he knows all about that party life and how he mistreats other women, so he doesn't want that shit for his daughter. I don't even know if he actually has a daughter right now, or if he's just saying his future daughter, but either way, I can relate to it, because I don't think I would want my daughter to be with someone like me. Well, I'm alright now, but back in the day, I was sloppy. But Flying High is one of the tracks that I was most curious about because it features one of my favorite artists out right now. I'm talking about Toro y Moi. And this song doesn't disappoint at all. It has some bright and bassy production from Pharrell, and Toro just sounds perfect when he brings his soft vocals on the hook and the bridge. Travis only spits one verse on this one, and I thought it sounded great how he had Pharrell backing him up throughout that verse. So overall, this was one of my favorite songs, and it's the type of shit that you could crank up to for some positive vibes. And speaking of interesting features, Justin Bieber is featured on the song Maria, I'm Drunk, along with Young Thug. This one starts off with some really soft opening vocals, and then the beat drops so that Thugga and Travis Scott can sing about calling up your friends to get drunk. Now all the verses on this song stick to that same topic, and a lot of people out there are saying that Justin Bieber killed it because he mixed rapping with singing. But come on guys, let's not get carried away. I mean, his verse was alright, but the only reason people are saying that he killed it is because it was unexpected from Justin Bieber. But really, I don't think there was anything spectacular about his verse. It's good, but it's nothing to write home about, and we're not going to put him in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame over it. So relax. As for Thugga, he just does his usual thing on this song, so if you like Young Thug, you'll like what he does. If you don't like Young Thug, don't expect his appearance on here to make you a fan of Young Thug. But the final track, Apple Pie, is another one of my favorite songs, and this one has a very triumphant feel to it. Travis handles the bouncy piano production with ease, as he raps about doing his own thing and being successful coming from the same place as Bun B, Houston, Texas. On the hook, he sings, I don't want your apple pie, mama, and at first I thought this was on some sexual shit, because pie, you know, like The Rock says, la 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 la, pie, you know how that goes. But that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about his mom's apple pie, and this song seems to be about Travis just moving on, growing up, and not needing all that care and support from his mom, which, you know, her apple pie, taking care of him, feeding him, etc., etc. So now he can take care of her. At least that's how I took it, and how some other people out there are taking it, but you know how it goes. You might make up your own mind about what this song means. His lyrics on Apple Pie focus on making his own recipe and his own legacy, so that ties into what I was saying about how he's coming up on this song and moving out into the world. And the song, I can tell, has a similar idea to it as far as the content goes, because he raps about how he went from making songs in the attic to making money and having bitches hanging off of his dang-a-lang. And yeah, he does say that. That's some gangsta shit. Got these bitches all up on my dang-a-lang. On my wiener. So after my first listen, I wasn't really feeling this album too much, but in the end it did grow on me a bit, and I think it's a bit more polished than Days Before Rodeo, so I have it at a 3.5 out of 5. Now I already talked about pretty much every track on here, but we'll wrap some of the other tracks up right quick, excluding the deluxe edition ones. I thought that 3500 with Future and 2 Chainz is just an alright song, but unnecessarily long. And Impossible is a dark and brooding track with lyrics about drugs and being lonely. As for 90210, I thought this one started off with a sound very similar to Kanye's 808 and Heartbreaks album, but then for the last half of the song, it switches over to a more traditional hip-hop sound. And all three of these songs are alright to me, but they're not personal favorites. And that's why I have this album at a 3.5 out of 5, like I said, because there's only a handful of songs here that I would actually listen to. But I think it's a cool album, there's a lot of experimental stuff going on, and if you like dark vibes and auto-tune, you're gonna love this shit. It's kinda like Dirty Sprite 2, mixed with 808s and Heartbreaks, mixed with Yeezus, mixed with Days Before Rodeo. Kind of. Just a little bit. But that's just what I thought about this album. Hit me up in the comments section to let me know what you think, and as usual, make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff, where you like my videos, you share them, you follow me on Twitter, you retweet the videos, and you especially subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.